Hello, welcome to Draw Along Club. So in these videos, we put up a series of poses, and you can see the ones we're going to do on the screen. And we're going to draw them on screen and narrate the process. So the idea is that you can draw along with us if you want. That's up to you. And we're going to narrate the process too. All the photos come from Croquis Cafe, so check them out on YouTube or at their website. And my name is Kenzo, and I'm joined by Meiko, who's my mum. She's drawing on the left, and I'm drawing on the right. And so this is a 3-minute pose. We're doing 3-minute poses. And if you're drawing along with us, don't overthink too much. Don't try to get everything perfect. These are mainly to warm up. So mistakes are welcome here. All right. So you've been doing a lot of origami. Have you been doing a lot of drawing?
At this moment, I'm a bit obsessed with the origami, complicated one. But there is some kind of fun to try complicated abstract shapes, and in the end we get kind of a shape of an animal and the birds. And it's a bit. I mean, drawing is different, but in this drawing, I tried to see abstract shape and geometric shape.
Yeah.
One reason is that I'm using brush pen, pentel brush pen.
Okay.
Unlike dry medium, if you just let brush it without control, it becomes a bit too wavy and
a bit
need
vague.
Some kind of structure. So I try to see not geometric, but abstract shape in human figure. And I think in my case, there has been a bit of a resistance to see organic form in abstraction or geometric shape, because something non-organic. But I realized, to see things as if first time, so nothing wrong to see human figure in abstract elements.
So you're trying to use quite strongly defined shapes because you're using a brush pen, which can get quite soft and vague and undefined. So you're trying to emphasize a lot of structure and clarity. But and we talked about you seeing abstract shapes in the figure in our foreshortening video, and actually we talk about it a few other times too, right? It helps you to overcome your preconceptions of the figure as well. But you're saying that the worry is that you just see everything in terms of abstract shapes, but the fun is in drawing a human being. So that's kind of a different thing, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
But then
I think to see abstract shape in human figure is a give honor to respect to the human figure, I thought, because we free ourselves from preconception of what human body look like and see as if it's the first time. So
yeah, it's like a fresh look at the figure.
Yeah, positive thing.
Yeah.
So because I had a kind of resistance until now. You don't have that kind of resistance to see things in abstract shape?
I'm still learning to see things in abstract shapes to some extent. So rather than resistance, I'm still trying to get the skill. But yeah, I want to be able to do it. I don't have any opposition to drawing that way. I think that's a great way to draw. If you can imagine if an alien came down and drew figures and they'd never seen a human being before, it would be interesting to see the way that they drew the figure. So, it's not going to be like an inhuman way of drawing the figure. So yeah, I really want to be able to see it with a more fresh eye, as if for the first time, if I can.
I think that's an important point of observational drawing, I think.
What, seeing as if for the first time? Yeah, especially with some poses, right? Especially with the foreshortened pose.
And then all negative shape become alive too. It's not, not just an empty vacuum, but negative shape contribute form as well. So,
right.
Yeah, I think that's an important concept to see things abstract or geometric shape.
Yeah. So, one thing I wanted to mention to everyone is that I'm about to have a baby, and the due date is tomorrow, and she'll probably end up arriving late. But it's me and my wife's first baby, so we're really excited. And that's why you're making origami, right? So that we can put it on the mobile and the baby has something to look at. But anyway, I was thinking recently about when she starts to learn to draw. You know, when our baby starts to learn to draw one day, that I wonder if that's when a lot of these preconceptions are born, when they're created, or if they're just built in. So if you learn them at school, like people say to you, this is how you draw an eye, this is how you draw a person, and then that's just built, and then that's just a habit that you've created. Or if that way of drawing is just comes very naturally to people because of the way that we recognize faces and stuff. Because if possible, I'd love to teach her to draw in a different way without lots of formulas and preconceptions about this is how you draw people, so that she can just observe and draw what she sees. But I don't know if that's possible.
I think it's not as, for example, this is elephant shape, this is a giraffe, but the element, 3D kind of, cube or concept of a cube or cylinder, there is a depth, width, height. I think things start from there, I think.
Right. And so showing her I guess it's that ability to observe things and really see what you're really seeing is a whole skill. And so you obviously we're all like learning as adults and drawing and practicing as adults. So we've got all these like, our brains are a little bit more rigid and it's a bit more hard work to learn that skill. I'm just wondering if you start when you're a kid learning to see things, like learning to see the eyes as they really are from different angles, if that's going to be useful for drawing. Not that she has to like drawing, she can like whatever she wants, obviously. But I was just wondering if there's a way of helping a kid to learn to observe things right from the start.
How to see?
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Yeah, like with this.
I'll think about it.
This face, this pose was kind of tricky, right? With the foreshortened face.
This pose again, this model is a very graceful and beautiful model, but somehow I found her pose is always difficult, and this one particularly because to fix your viewpoint, camera seems to looking down her.
Yeah.
But her chest look as if camera is just front of her. It's quite tricky to just define where the viewpoint.
Yeah. We're on to the 15-minute one now.
Yeah.
So if but then again, if you were able to just view it with a fresh eye, like you'd never seen it all before, then it wouldn't be so confusing, right? Because you would just see what you see and you would draw what you see.
I don't know. It's drawing. Drawing is a dimensional activity.
Yeah.
But you are seeing a 3D world, so there is some. I don't know. It's not that easy, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess you're right. And also, there is also the fact that the more you understand about what you're seeing, the better you can see it, which is why a bit of anatomy and stuff helps. So there's a sort of balance between loads of knowledge and experience and then the ability to see things as if for the first time to some extent.
Think that prehistoric painting of Rascal or something like that. I mean, beautiful drawing there, but it's a kind of 2D, isn't it? I mean, and also Egyptians drawing. It's
hieroglyphs.
Yeah, I mean, but there isn't concept of depth in drawing hasn't it developed there? So there is has to be some kind of a progression. It's not skill to describe 3D into the surface didn't come so straightforward way, I think.
Yeah, it's tricky too, because at some point, like a camera just kind of draws what it sees, right? It doesn't have any knowledge of people or anything. And that's not really what we're trying to do, right? We're not just trying to take a photo with our drawings.
Yeah.
You do want to put in some of the humanity and some of your own feeling about about the figure and about people into the drawing and some of your own knowledge and everything. So you don't just want to draw what you see. You want to go beyond what you see or add yourself to what you see or whatever. But on the other hand, it's a mixture, right? Because if you can't, if you can't get past all your preconceptions, then the drawing's going to suffer as well. So you got to be able to do both, right?
I think the camera is just a recorder, isn't it? A faithful record of one moment, how light and shadow has been distributed. There isn't a line in photograph. It's all kind of a tonal thing in a photography.
Yeah.
And the drawing is quite a different thing. Drawing, there isn't a line in reality.
Right.
But in drawing, the marking and the lines are main element. So in that sense, drawing is a pure abstraction, even if we draw figurative, so-called figurative. Drawing is an abstraction. There isn't in reality. Does it make sense?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Think of the photograph. There isn't any line in photograph.
It's just all tones and...
Yeah. So it's quite so even when we draw from photograph like this, we kind of abstract tonal information into line and marks, isn't it?
Yeah.
And even when we apply tone, there is some kind of borderline of gradation of tone. We describe it as if there is a line.
Yeah, we give everything a shape, right?
Yeah, so I don't know if it makes sense, but I think drawing is abstraction. Even if subject matter is representational thing.
Yeah.
I really think that abstract art and figurative art distinction is not that important, I think. Drawing is all visual art is abstraction, isn't it?
I guess so, but when it's figurative, the person who's looking at it is going to put in more of their own ideas and recognition, whereas when it's just abstract, they have less of that, so their reaction's a bit less.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I don't know. I don't do so-called abstract painting or drawing, but
it might be something that's quite useful or fun to try out one day.
Yeah.
But so for you guys drawing this, and if you struggle with seeing things, in that landscape style or abstractly or whatever, and you just can't get past, okay, this is an arm and this is a nose and all that, you can look for some of these shapes. So like, if you look at her right shoulder, so on the left side of the photo, if you look at the shadows there, you might kind of see a sort of zigzag pattern. Or also on her left arm, on the one that's resting on her knee. As it goes down look at the shadow, the shape of the shadow as it goes down her bicep, and then at the crook of the elbow, it comes up, and then runs along the edge of her forearm. So you can look for that little shape, because that foreshortened forearm is quite tricky. But if you look for that little zigzag shape and forget about the forearm, you might find it a little bit easier.
That's true.
Yeah.
This pose is a very structured. It's a good pose to study, isn't it?
Yeah, that's for the 15-minute one. I chose this because I thought we might have a decent chance of drawing it reasonably okay.
Sorry?
I thought we might do an all right job with drawing this one because it's like got some nice, it's not too straight on so that there's nothing interesting to draw. There's a bit of diagonal and there's some poise to it, so it's interesting.
Yeah.
But it's not filled with tricky elements, right? And also Croquis Cafe, they're great because they put on this clear lighting from one side, so there's shadow and there's a pretty clear line of the figure, the figure's shape to help you really explain the shape of the figure in your drawing. So that's really nice.
I think we always say that, but it's a great way to study life drawing is to go to Croquis Cafe and do a short pose daily. That's really give you artistic muscle, I think.
Yeah, daily practice, even if however you feel about photos versus live models and stuff, if you're practicing every day with either one, you're gonna improve rapidly no matter what.
Yeah, I'm saying to myself.
Yeah. So you're using a brush at this point. Was that a water-soluble colored pencil?
Yes, because I always my intention is always add water to water-soluble pencil, but most of the time I end up without adding water. But this pose, you gave me 15 minutes, so I have a time to add water.
Yeah, I'm using a colored pencil too, but it's not water soluble. But you can smudge it and stuff if you want to get something a bit flatter.
Yes. I think water-soluble pencil is quite tricky to use nicely. Need practice, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, amount of water, etc. need some control, because otherwise you lose all initial drawing. Just melt it away in water.
So now you're onto the brush pen, right?
Yes, to give more definition.
More definition, okay, yeah. Yeah, one thing I noticed about colored pencils is compared to pastels or something, or charcoal, it's not going to have the instant power on the paper, the pigment or whatever isn't going to transfer to the paper in such a vivid and powerful way.
That's true.
Like some materials. So if it's water soluble, getting your brush out and adding a bit of water, somehow for me it does add a bit more power to it. But otherwise, it's something to keep in mind is that, you can do amazing drawings with colored pencils. One of its characteristics compared to other things, I think, is that it doesn't have the instant, vivid covering power of something like a soft pastel.
I think you're right. I had a high hope to use the master colored pencil, but I think I feel kind of not the limit of material, but it's not exactly I want, because there isn't a proper way or non-proper way of using material, but as you said, to make a powerful expression with a colored pencil, you need many layers and kind of a labored work, isn't it? It's just one stroke doesn't say much.
Right.
Maybe I'm wrong, but so if it's a pastel, even one stroke can make quite a strong statement.
Yeah.
So colored pencil is a wonderful material, especially wide range of available tone and beautiful luminous color. But
you can do amazing stuff with colored pencils for sure. I've seen loads of... I think it's underrated because kids use colored pencils too, right? And it's seen as like a rudimentary thing, but I don't think it is. I think it's quite advanced and difficult.
Yes.
And quite intricate,
Need experience and knowledge of material to use colored pencil really effectively.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't recommend for first choice for life drawing,
right?
Because most of life drawing available time is pretty short, and probably colored pencil doesn't express strong enough in that short form. It's I don't know what I'm saying.
No, I know what you mean. Like if you've only got 10 minutes, it might not get as much power, like as much on the paper as charcoal or pastel or whatever. Or even watercolor, right? Watercolor, you can do a lot very quickly. But there's a few things like that which feel like more beginner level stuff, but actually they're more advanced. Like
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, like graphite pencil, I think is quite tricky when you're a beginner. It's harder, I think, than some other stuff. Or drawing smaller, I think, is kind of seen as more comfortable for people when they're starting out, but actually is more difficult. And then things like smudging. Smudging is kind of an advanced technique, but a lot of people do it when they're starting out.
No, that's true.
Yeah. So how do you feel about your drawing? Remember, we're being positive.
I think I started enjoying using a brush pen. I think best is using a normal brush with ink. Chinese or Japanese ink.
Yeah.
But brush pen is great because it's so convenient in life classes when time is short.
Okay, cool. Well, we've run out of time. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. I just wanted to let you guys know, as I mentioned before, I'm having a baby anytime now. So
congratulations.
Thank you. And so if some of the videos are slower to come out, then that's why. Although I've got some hopefully ready to go, so it might not be too bad. And if some of the videos look a bit sloppy or have mistakes in them, it's because of sleep deprivation. Okay. So,
no excuse.
No excuses.
No excuse.
Okay. All right, cool. See you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
Thank you very much.